Hello everyone, this is the program Capital Ideas Life and I'm the host, Mike Gibson. Today we have an unusual program about my fellow journalists from another TV channel. For 12 years now, every day and around the clock, they've been talking about all the most important and interesting things happening in the Russian capital. And they do this so professionally and very interestingly. So, we're off to visit the TV channel Moscow 24.
Today on the program, how the TV channel Moscow 24 was founded and how it operates. The TV studio, the center of broadcasting and the space for communicating with viewers. A behind-the-scenes look at the work of presenters, directors and other Moscow 24 employees.
Moscow 24 is a 24-hour news TV channel established as an initiative of Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin in 2011.
Hello, this is Moscow 24, the capital's 24-hour TV channel. News on life in the metropolitan area every 15 minutes.
This is how the history of the channel began 12 years ago. Today, Moscow 24 is part of the consolidated editorial board of Moscow Media, which also includes the TV channel Moscow Doveria, several radio stations, the online publication M24.ru, and the City News Agency.
In the year 2011, my manager and the channel's visionary, Moscow 24's Steve Jobs, the man who thought it all up, Igor Shestakov, he called and he said we were going to make Moscow Television, a new channel, and we needed a new approach. I was directing TV programs at the time and I said, I don't want to be the chief director of a TV channel. I wanted to do movies and commercials. And so I said, I have one condition. If you let me build the set, then I'm interested. He said, sure. Who else is going to build it? Come and build whatever you want. And I said, come where? Yeah, there's an abandoned courtyard right over there next to the Rossiya TV building. And so that's where we're going to build.
The pavilion, where the new City TV channel was to start broadcasting, was built in an unprecedented amount of time for such a project, just 3 months. And in September 2011, a new state-of-the-art TV studio opened in the same location as the printing house of the USSR's main newspaper, Pravda.
It was a very tight deadline. We had to come up with everything very quickly. We started designing this pavilion. The whole ethos of the channel is embedded throughout it. It was very trendy back then. It was really a fashionable breakthrough. We wanted an open space. We wanted people to work and also film at the same time.
The launch of the new television space was a success. As a result, a complex, multifunctional on-air pavilion was built, provisionally divided into 5 functional zones.
This location is called the Tong.
What is it? Oh, okay.
That's because, well, as you can see, you can perform on it here with a guitar, for example. You could walk on it.
Interesting.
It's the central structure, as you can see, the foundation. It's the dominant element of this studio. It's just about time for a break. Let's go take a look. We're live now, but let's go to another live feed. Now we're in the news area, which is, actually, do you want to guess what we call it?
Ah, this is the pill.
The pill.
Yes, I've heard that.
Yeah, because it's round, as you can see. This is where our anchors work. And here, turn the camera around, please. This is where we have our camera bay, prompters, cameras, rails, and so on and so forth. The channel requires a lot of scenography because there is a lot of simultaneous movement going on here. So we're going down our stairs now, the super staircase as we call it. We got it wrong, by the way. You can see how uncomfortable it is. A lot of ladies have sworn at us about how uncomfortable it is for them to walk in heels down here. But when we drew the stairs, we just stretched it like this in 3D and said, oh, it'll be fine. But of course, we didn't test it, unfortunately. Okay, now we're going to go to the most hazardous and actually the largest part of the studio. This is what we call the Aurora. Here we go.
The
So as you can see, it's pretty scary to stand here, especially when you're not used to it. But our hosts, of course, they get used to it already.
Yes, and you have to be brave here.
Yeah, this is probably the most dangerous object on television in Russia.
The main draw of Moscow 24 Studio is its multifunctionality. Several parallel broadcasts can be made from different areas of the pavilion at the same time. The presenters and film crews don't have to worry about interfering with each other.
Right now we're in the Honeycomb. It's a place where reporters come after filming. They do a kind of slideshow. We want, of course, everyone to speak in their own words, so there's no complicated texts. For example, let's say a person comes in here, they make a slideshow, and then they just say what they see in their own words.
The studio is designed such that the news anchors and program hosts can communicate directly with each other whilst on air.
Please welcome Roman Karlov. Hello, Roman. Now we've arrived at the glass. This is the lower part of the studio. Actually, it's underneath the pill, as you can see. This is where we usually put the chairs. We had a night show like this here. Actually, we have a lot of formats. The channel is it's like this because things change all the time. For example, something live opens and closes. It's a really versatile platform for an interview or a podcast or something like that.
Right. Yekaterina Fomenko, a news anchor at Moscow 24, starts her workday at 12 noon. First, Yekaterina goes to the dressing room to change her clothes. They have prepared a formal and elegant grey dress for her today. Then the anchorwoman gets her makeup done. And here is the dressing room of the TV channel. Here they prepare the image of the presenters and prepare them for broadcast.
I can't say that it's very different from me in real life. It's just that there's a little more of my side that's highlighted. For example, my beauty. I am very grateful, actually, to all the professional staff who work with us and how they help us to prepare. I'm pretty sure my self-esteem has improved thanks to them. Whoa, you're shooting here, and I'm not in makeup yet. I'm not ready for the shoot. You're already beautiful.
This is Roman Karlov, host of the TV channel Moscow 24.
It can be very hot in our studio, so you start to sweat very quickly, and for me, my forehead gets shiny, and if your forehead is big and prominent, that causes problems. The cameraman yell at you, "Go powder yourself," and I say, well, what can I do? Just my luck with my forehead. You know, some people think that a big forehead is a sign of intelligence.
Roman is not just a colleague of Yekaterina, he is her co-host. Many news anchors on the Moscow 24 channel work in pairs.
Well, right now I'm working with Katya, but Katya is hardly the first host I've worked with. I've been with the channel since the beginning, actually. I'm with Katya now, but before that I was with Ksyusha, and before that I was with Sveta. You know, I don't think I can remember them all, actually. Honestly, yes, working as a pair is not as easy as it seems. There has to be a connection, you know, acceptance of each other. Well, and as our management says, there has to be some chemistry. Sometimes you work with a partner and they tell you there's no chemistry. And you do everything you can. You try, you smile at her, she smiles at you, you interact. But there is no chemistry. And what is chemistry? No one knows, but it's true. That is when there is a connection in a couple, and you don't even have to agree on who reads this line or that one. Somehow, everything just emerges on its own. One gets a little quiet, and the other one picks it up right away. There are several pairs of morning and afternoon news anchors on the channel. Katya, you ready there?
There are only a few minutes left before the live broadcast begins. Cameras, lights, microphones, and of course, the anchor woman's hair. Everything must be perfect.
Handmade Easter souvenirs and how they are made. Muscovites will find out at the traditional festival.
TV channel Moscow 24 is, first of all, a news channel. Around the clock, journalists talk about the current events in the capital of Russia. Online, viewers can follow the current information about the weather and the transport situation in the city.
Our broadcast is divided into 3 blocks. This is the morning broadcast, this is the afternoon broadcast, and then the evening broadcast. Our prime time is considered to be the morning broadcast because Muscovites turn on our channel and they're interested in weather and traffic, and this is why there is a large audience there. Then the audience slowly migrates to the daytime broadcast, and our daytime broadcasting is called mono ether. It's not so much about the news, but it's more of an interactive stream where there's more interaction with the audience, where we do all sorts of voting, contests. Of course, we work every day at some of the main points of attraction in the city. The daytime broadcast consists mostly of live broadcasts, which go from hour to hour, and accordingly, our own day ends with the evening slots, and this is where we summarize the day. We try not to just deliver the news, but also provide useful insights to our viewers. What is the connection between this and that? Why is it happening? And what, in fact, are we trying to get out of it?
The newscast on the TV channel is broadcast live every hour. Therefore, work never stops for a single minute. So let's take a look at how everything works here. About 150 people work in the channel's news department. Correspondents, editors, and producers are all united by one task: informing Muscovites about what is happening in their city.
Hello, News, Yulia speaking. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we'll take it. We'll put it on air. Thanks.
Who decides what should be broadcast?
All the big channels, including us, they have a scheduling service that has a timetable for what's guaranteed to happen on air. So that means some things are on the calendar for a month, or even more than a month ahead of time. There are 2 categories here. So the first category is predictable news, news that we know is going to happen 100%. And then the second is breaking news. That's news that just comes in during the day. So accordingly, we have producers who do the planning and others take responsibility for our quick response. One of the strengths of our channel is its close interaction with the audience, with the viewer. We have an on-air channel chat room, and that means that viewers themselves send us news on WhatsApp, and we create our broadcasting together with them.
And now we're traveling together with the program Atmosphere to tell our viewers about the weather in Moscow. The program Atmosphere is broadcast live on Moscow 24 6 times a day, from 6 a.m. to 3:30 p.m.
Good morning, everyone. Get warmed up, and that's enough. That's the weather slogan for the coming weekend. April has us in for a bit of an unpleasant surprise, but please don't be disappointed because I'm going to warn you in advance.
The program crew travels around the city in a special weathermobile. This is a new modern modification of the legendary Soviet Moskvich car, a gift to the TV channel personally from Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin.
So this is a panel from the weather station, which is just mounted on the roof of the weathermobile, as you can see. This is a real weather station. It's not a prop, it's not just for decoration. So if you look here, you can see all the meteorological parameters. For example, we have temperature, humidity, atmospheric pressure, wind speed. It even has the precipitation. Right, so here you can see the anemometer, which is a gauge that shows the wind speed. And you don't even have to look at the panel. You can see it, that the wind is very strong right now. You can see it in my hair, actually. I have my own personal anemometer. These cups are spinning, and that means the wind is quite strong.
What's the speed right now? Is it very high?
This is 5 meters per second.
Even 6?
Yeah, 6. It shows the wind speed. It also shows the wind direction, actually. And there's also a sensor built into the whole thing that measures temperature. So it's a real professional station, you know? It shows all the weather parameters in general.
Interesting. And the car is a lot of fun. You might be the most recognizable person in Moscow.
Well, almost. The car is very bright indeed, you know, it's colorful, and we specifically tried to make it noticeable. And of course, everyone pays attention to us, and we're all for it.
Today, Moscow 24 is one of the most successful projects in the media space of the Russian capital. In 2019, the channel rebranded itself, changed its logo, and launched new programs. Numerous awards, as well as nominations for various professional television awards, and, of course, the love of the audience are all the result of the teamwork of the Moscow 24 channel staff.
We are an urban service that you can consume via television as a distribution channel. Actually, we have this division technically between inside the company. So there's Moscow 24 and there's Moscow 24 content. Now, in addition to the news, we have informative films about the city, about the people, and about outstanding events. We also have game formats. We also make animated films. We have an animated cat. His name is Bagel. He's our channel's mascot, you could say. We also have a Made in Moscow format. Now, this is a purely Moscow thing. For example, did our Big Asia viewers know that there is actually bird's milk in Moscow? Do you know what bird's milk is?
Bird's milk. It's a cake.
Yeah, it's a cake. It's like a cake, yeah. Yeah, of course, we all love it. We made a separate film about it. It was done in Moscow. The cake Bird's Milk is a Soviet man's dream come true about living the sweet life. How Moscow invented something that doesn't exist in nature.
On the difficult topic of financial and monetary relations, the presenters of the program Money 24 are intelligible, concise, and sometimes even humorous.
We report on current events from the world of economics and certain statements by the head of the central bank. For example, changes in inflation, the ruble exchange rate, and so on. We also choose a major topic and expand on it, so that, for example, people can be better informed about what they should do with their money in the current situation. Easter cakes and eggs will be cheaper than they were last year for Muscovites this Easter.
The interactive informational program Life in the Big City has been on air for 8 years now. During this time, the format, scenery, and presenters have changed several times. But the concept remains the same: reporting on what is happening in the capital and making sure Muscovites are kept up to date on the news that affects them. Every day, the program team prepares a new story for viewers.
I think it's a unique city. It's a metropolis that has absolutely everything. You know, to grow, to feel like a creative and happy person for real. That's the atmosphere we're trying to convey to our viewers. For them to feel at ease too, so that they will love it, feel it, go out, breathe this air, and realize that it's the best city on earth.
The City is another successful project on the channel, which has grown from a small section to a real brand. It is a program about the cultural and social life of the Russian capital: movies, concerts, festivals, nightlife, books, and new restaurants. Everything that forms the cultural agenda and lifestyle of Muscovites. For example, today the program host Polina Fedosova will talk about how to spend a weekend in the city and which museums allow animals.
Right, so I've got a secret. So, actually, one of the hardest things about my job is sitting in this chair. Do you know why? Because it spins.
And you might fall. For sure.
It's because you can fall, and it took me a long time to get used to it. Do you want to try?
Yes, okay, I'll give it a try.
No, but you're so tall, you probably won't fall. You'll be fine. No?
Yeah, wow. I understand. You do have to be careful.
You just need to make one wrong move and you could just
Exactly.
roll away into the distance over there.
And now the filming begins. Shh. Television is first and foremost an image. Two people are responsible for image quality, on Moscow 24, the brothers Alexander and Dmitry Chekmarov. They work on the channel as chief directors. This is one of the most demanding positions in any television company.
The editor-in-chief and the director, they've got to be completely in sync in order to understand what's ready and what's not ready. Because there could be a rewrite, a live insertion. In a second, something could go off the rails because a battery on the set died. And in these situations, a rewrite takes place. The editor-in-chief tells the director that they're making a change. And the director, he starts interacting with the second row, because the second row, they are responsible for a lot of things, actually. The prompter, the title editors, the graphics, and many, many different tasks. Now everyone can take a deep breath because there's a 5-minute break.
In addition to the main production studio, the channel also has a virtual studio. Its technical capabilities allow the anchors to go live from here. The virtual studio differs from the usual studio in that it does not have real physical backgrounds and scenery, but digital ones.
So as you can see, there are sensors all over the studio, and they're all connected to 3 cameras. So we can't just immerse ourselves in a static background, but we can immerse ourselves in any space, for example, the mountains, and the camera will move with us, the backgrounds will move. In other words, the virtual studios make it possible for us to shoot a big movie.
Wow, like Avatar, it's the same principle.
Yeah, Avatar, only in Russian, Moscow 24.
Let's see how it works.
Get on up. Michael, here you're in the very same space as Aurora, where you can host the Moscow Today program, actually, the closing program of the day.
I can walk.
Yeah, you can walk.
And I can talk.
You can talk if you want. So now you're already out of space. And the big screen is there. You have this sensation that there's this huge space behind you. But of course you can't just fall off of this Aurora.
And what programs do you film here?
Right now we're filming the Moscow Today summary program. In addition, we're working on a lot of different programs. City Night, Mos Lecture Hall and Techno Format. So the studio is actually full every day.
An equally important part of the work of the Moscow 24 channel is sound.
Money 24, premiere. How I Stopped Being Afraid and Fell in Love with Mortgages. Watch tomorrow, only on Moscow 24.
Anton Kireev is the official voice of the Moscow 24 TV channel. The announcer voices promos, announcements, and documentaries. While shooting this episode, I took advantage of my official position and asked Anton to give me a little masterclass. Can you help me with Russian pronunciation and how to speak properly?
Well, I think, yeah. Well, first of all, what do you and I need in order to speak properly and clearly? We need to relax the jaw, it must not be tense. Now, there's a very good exercise for this. Look, you and I take your hands in a lock, relax your neck, and you do this sort of movement with your hands. Got it? Okay? Now you open your mouth just a little bit, and when you make the sound ah, you jiggle your hands.
That's great!
So to accurately articulate the text, you must of course practice individual syllables. But to make it harder, we put something in our mouths, let's say a cork. And then we start saying the words.
Wow.
Could you say a few lines so we can hear what it sounds like?
Yes, okay. Wow.
I think that's really cool.
That's cool, really cool.
That's great.
Moscow 24 is not just another button on the TV remote control which you can press to find the Russian capital's latest news. The channel has become an integral part of Moscow's media space and the main conductor of positive city news. In September 2021, congratulating the staff of the channel on its 10-year anniversary, Sergei Sobyanin said, Moscow 24 is listened to, read, and quoted by more than 10 million people. You have become the voice of the city. Moscow 24 is a TV channel where real professionals work. They truly love the Russian capital and share this love with their viewers. I think you could feel that. I certainly did. This is the program Capital Ideas Life, and I'm Mike Gibson. Watch the news about the capital on Moscow 24 and our program on the TV channel Big Asia. See you in the next program. Bye.